Yeah, hello everyone. So we will discuss now a few questions and then we will discuss some scenario based question. So this one is recently asked CTS interview question. Someone shared in group, our group. So first API led connectivity. What is significant of it? Okay. So first thing, this API led connectivity. What we have here, we follow this microservice architecture. Okay. So it's very similar to our microservice architecture. What we do here, we divide our API into three layers, starting with system layer, then process layer, and then experience layer. In system layer, we connect with external system. In process layer, we apply all the business logic, and in experience layer, we expose our API to different experience system. Now you will say, what is advantage and disadvantage of this API-led connectivity? So first let's discuss advantage. So everything, like whatever best thing you do, there must be some disadvantage also. So here we have more advantage, we have less disadvantage, but we will discuss both side of this. API led connectivity everyone know, but yeah, advantage and disadvantage side, maybe you know or you don't know. So let's discuss this part. So first thing, in term of advantage, so we develop our API, okay, in such a way, like after following this API led architecture, so that we split our functionalities into a small module. Okay, so we can reuse our functionality as much we can. Means we are like make developing after following this API led architecture, we can reuse our components or functionalities. Okay, so first thing is it will increase reusability. Then second thing, if there will be any kind of code break, like if there will be any like issue in your code, then only limited functionality will be impacted. Okay, if you go for like this monolithic architecture, which is previous architecture, what before this microservice architecture or API led architecture. In monolithic, if something will go wrong, then it will impact your entire application. But in microservice, if something will go wrong, then it will impact only limited part of your functionality or like application. So this two are like very major advantage. First one is it will increase reusability of your code. Second part, it will, if there will be any code break, then it will impact only limited part of your application. Okay, apart of that, on initial level, it will increase your development effort since you are developing three API to make one API. But when you start your when your organization start growing, it will reduce your effort drastically. Okay, so when your organization will start growing, when new like many new functionality will be introduced, your development effort and other effort will be very less. Okay, so your development effort will reduce drastically since you everything is ready now. Means after developing many API, many thing will be means available ready made. Okay, you just need to reuse and you need to make your new API. So these all are advantage of this API led architecture, but definitely there is some disadvantage also. So disadvantage you can say in term of like maintenance. See, for example, now you have three API to perform one functionality. Okay, so initial level development effort will be more, and to deploy one application, one API, you need to deploy on three places since you are developing system process and experience API. So this like whatever disadvantage you are seeing here, this will be at the very initial level, but later on only you will get advantage. Okay, for example, like you are deploying on three worker, system layer in one worker, process layer in one worker, experience layer in one worker, so it will increase costing, but all this impact will be at the initial level only. Once your organization will start growing, all this thing will converted in advantage only. Okay. So tell me about RAML and its reusability. RAML, everyone know it's a RESTful API modeling language. Here
Hello.
in yes,
So you mean to say it uses more workers as
yeah,
a point of disadvantage?
yes. For example, you if you are developing API following this monolithic architecture, you are developing single API. There you are applying all the business logic. You are connecting with external system. When you will deploy, you can deploy on single worker. But if you will follow API led architecture, so you need to create three mule application, one for system API, one for process API, one for experience API. So if you want to deploy three applications, so one worker can maximum support one worker. Sorry, one worker can maximum support one application, and here you have three mule application. So definitely you need three worker.
Ravi.
Yes.
Yeah, overall, like this approach, API-led approach is the most industry followed approach, or what is like, for
Yes.
example,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we don't want point to point, like, right? So it's
Yes. Yes.
instead
Yeah.
of point to
Everyone
point,
following this
we
API led
use this.
architecture. Now you will say everyone follow strictly API led architecture, then no. So I have seen like till this point wherever I worked, no one follow three layer architecture. Okay, no, sorry. I worked in two project. One project they are following two layer architecture. One project in three layer architecture. Okay. So sorry means it's many people follow, many organization follow three layer, and many organization follow two layer, and few organization follow four layer also. On top of this experience API, they develop proxy API also. So what is proxy API there? To remove all the non-functional requirement from our API, you can develop proxy API and you can apply all the non-functional requirement there. So proxy API will be on top of your mule API, experience API.
So can we do like a mobile application and web application if we don't follow this three-layer or four-layer application? Because one is a reusability, right? Like when we use this three-layer approach, when we do like a system API, like it communicates with the outside world, like the database, everything. Then the process layer, we do the business logic, and the experience API with again to communicate the outside, like with the mobile or web application. So without this approach, it wouldn't be harder.
So which one like this is your API led
You,
architecture only what you discuss. So
you
which approach you are
no,
comparing?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If how can we achieve uh, like reusability, like without following these three layers? The process layer, like it's just we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
use
So
it
that's why
either with
that
the
is,
mobile.
yeah, that is the advantage of API led architecture.
Yeah,
Means we
that's
we can
because of
reuse.
that why it's not the usage is not higher.
Sorry,
The
sorry.
methodology. The methodology should be very preferred, I think, in my opinion, or I
Yes,
don't know.
yes, yes, yes. Everyone follow this API led architecture only. Okay. No matter it's a MuleSoft, other technology, Java, .NET, they are following microservice architecture. It's very similar to this API led architecture. I'm not sure like you know about this MVC model or not. So in other technology, they use this term MVC model in to use this microservice architecture. Model view controller. So controller will be like your system API, which will connect with external system. So like this, they term is MVC model or some other models are there. Every organization or every technology uses this microservice architecture. In MuleSoft, we term it as a API-led architecture. Okay. Tell about RAML and its reusability.
And Ravi, you said some companies use two layers. So, what are the most two layers they use?
Okay, so in that case, there will be experience layer and system layer. There will not be process layer.
Oh, okay.
So business logic they apply on experience layer only.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Tell about RAML and its reusability. Like RAML, everyone know it's a RESTful API modeling language, and it contains four component: resource, request, response, and underlying data type. Now it's reusability component, so it has multiple reusable component like fragment, traits, data type, library. So all these thing you can use, like you can define or create to reuse, to make RAML reusable. Now first fragment. So fragment is MuleSoft component, like not MuleSoft component. It's a directory, you can say, where you can keep all the reusable resources which can be utilized by multiple RAMLs. Okay, whatever thing you are like thinking that can be used by multiple RAML, we should create inside fragment. Okay, so a fragment is nothing. It's a shared directory for all the RAML resources or for all the RAML files. Okay, next, traits. Traits is a collection of reusable header, reusable query parameter, reusable body, reusable response. Okay, so inside traits you can define all the reusable headers, query parameter, body, response, everything you can define. Data type. Data type is a schema or definition of our request and response data payload. Okay, inside data type we define request and response structure of our payload. So what all fields will be required, what all field will be optional, what will be their max length, mean length, what will be data type, everything we define there. Okay, and then library. So library is nothing, it's a collection of traits and data type. Okay, and resource is a collection of resources, their proper and their properties, resource type. Okay, now how to define like how to create library, you need to use keyword usage. And how to use that one? So for that you need to use keyword use. For resource type, you need to use keyword resource type itself. Okay, so these all are like MuleSoft reusable component you should know. Okay, what is caching? So caching and throttling is similar, same thing.
Ravi, one question.
Yeah.
Ravi, can we keep body inside trait?
I haven't tried, but yes, I think it's possible. You can. What all things will come inside method? Okay, inside method, what all things comes? You can define everything inside threads.
Okay.
Maybe we can quickly check once. For me, it's possible. Let me quickly check. So header I defined here. See, on that same level I can see body also. So body also we can define. So this is my trait file. Inside this I can define header, I can define body, I can define query parameter. Response also you can define query parameter. URI parameter is I can't see. Security you can define. So all these things you can define here inside your traits. Is it clear?
Okay, Ravi. And one more thing regarding RAML, like can we define OAuth in RAML?
OAuth. On security, I think basic authentication you can define. OAuth also you can define. Let me quickly check. So here you will get suggestion itself. Let me go to main rammer. Okay, why it's not coming? Oh, okay, it will come inside security schema. Sorry. So basic authentication, OAuth, this all you can define. Okay.
Okay. And one more question regarding Raml, like, can we design an asynchronous API using Raml?
Asynchronous API, what actually see? Whenever you are saying REST API, we can. Whenever it's a non-REST API, then you can't. Non-REST API means like process will not will be exposed as a API. Sorry, REST API. For example, it's a scheduler based process. It's a starting from JMS queues, starting event based process, file based process. So for that, RAML is only for defining RESTful API, not other API. Okay, we can have REST API, we can have non-REST API. REST API means where HTTP listener will be your starting point. Someone will call your API using like providing host port and their structure. But non-REST API means some like no one is calling that API. That API will auto trigger. Either it's a scheduled base, it's starting from file, it's starting from database, it's starting from JMS. Those are non-REST API. So that for those API you don't need YAML.
But I heard like in the latest design center they have implemented that also. Okay, can you go to the design center once, like new design, like we can create new Raml? Yeah, here I think async. Yeah, new async API. This one. Someone asked me this question, Ravi, in the interview. That's why I'm asking.
Okay. No, even I haven't used this one. Yeah, it seems that it's a newly introduced. So what is the async API? Actually, async.
Yeah, it is for asynchronous. It's for an asynchronous API. Like we have scheduler based, right? For those kind of things also, they have introduced this itself.
Okay, maybe that I need to check. I haven't used, so what exactly they are trying to define here, I need to check. Okay, we'll discuss this one maybe later, or maybe you can explore on internet. So somewhere they should have written some blog or anything about this. Okay, so next, caching we already discussed multiple times, so we will not cover. Oh, where is my cursor? I lost my cursor. Okay, don't know. So next one is, how do you secure your API and what policy you used? Okay. So to secure your API, we can apply multiple policies like basic authentication, client ID or enforcement, JWT token, OAuth. Like this, we have multiple policy by which we can secure our API. So what policy you use? So policy side, there are many policy that you should know, at least even if you haven't used that, you should know, like JWT, basic authentication, OAuth, rate limiting, client ID enforcement, then spike control, HTTP caching, IP whitelisting, IP blacklisting. So these all are, then SLA based rate limiting. So these all are widely used policy that you should know. Explain about two-way SSL. Yesterday only we discussed what is two-way SSL. Here uh, client and target both will be secured by SSL, and they will share their public key to each other. Whenever like uh, someone will make request, they will secure that request with their public key and target system private key. Okay, so that authentication will happen on both side, and both will use each other public key. So that is two-way SSL. VM connector and real-time use cases. So VM connector we use, like it's a VM is messaging queue. It's a inbuilt messaging queue inside MuleSoft. So why we use this VM connector? Mostly we use this VM connector whenever we want to exchange some data from one flow to another flow. Okay, so we can publish message in queue and then we can read from another flow. How to mask the runtime variable in Cloud Hub? Is it recommended? Okay, runtime variable in Cloud Hub. So this feature I haven't used, but here what happened with my system? What happened with my cursor? Let me restart my system. So here you can maintain your secret manager. You can create key store, trust score, certificate, everything you can create here. Okay, fine, let it be for now. Okay, but for this answer, I will like give you better answer for this one. How to mask the runtime variable? This one I will answer in next session. Have you worked on any design pattern? So in MuleSoft we have multiple design pattern. Okay, like file based, asynchronous, scheduler based. Okay, so like this we have multiple. So if you want, you can Google it. And this question, like again I will say, many interviewer is asking this question. So, like most common or famous pattern are like this: publish, subscribe, then file based, and you can go through this book. This book is very good. Integration, enterprise integration pattern. Like you will get all the integration concept here. This will take time, but if you will have time, oh, not this one. I think someone created PDF. So where is actual book? Okay. So in this book, you will get all the detail of, like, it's not related to one integration technology. It's related to all. Like you, if you will understand this concept, whatever we have in this book, you will be expert in all the integration technology. Okay. So here you will get design pattern also. They have given only limited page. Let me see. I downloaded long back. Um, so these all are pattern. Request reply. Okay. So consumer is there, service provider is there. So you requested and you got immediate response. So this can be, means this like a REST API. What REST API we are developing? This is that pattern, request and reply. Other one is multiple consumer. So we are consuming, like you are publishing message in some topic, and from there multiple consumer in consuming message. Okay. Then return address. So we are writing message to somewhere, and there inside payload itself you will get where exactly you need to return after processing. Okay. Here multiple service provider means who are serving requests. So in that case queue will be one to one, topic will be there. So you are publishing message in one topic, and from there multiple service are consuming message. There are multiple pattern: pipe and filter model. Splitter. you whatever request you will get, you are splitting in multiple payload, and that will go to different system. This one is aggregator, means whatever request you will get, you will aggregate and you will send to one target system. Scatter gather, like you will get request and you will call different external system in parallel. Composing pattern, this one not sure. So there are multiple pattern. Okay, you just need to explain 2 3.
Ravi, these patterns can be implemented from MuleSoft or any integration technology like
Yes,
Oracle,
yes.
SOAP,
Yes,
TIBCO.
any.
Okay.
Actually everyone using, and like means in integration, whenever you are doing integration, you are must following one pattern. But like theoretically we don't know like what pattern we are following, but everyone follow, all integration API following some pattern. Okay, for example, you are using scatter gather component to pass that payload to multiple systems parallelly, so you are following this scatter gather pattern. Okay, then what we discussed at the starting, that one is REST API one. Request reply, so you are requesting to some system and that system is replying to consumer. So here we have in between API, so that one is request reply. Multiple consumer, so whatever message you are publishing to somewhere, so from there multiple consumer is consuming message, so that one is topic one. So you are placing message in topic and from there multiple consumer is consuming. Okay, return address, so here when you are calling, like when you are passing data to some system, okay, so then that's when that target system will complete its processing. So when you are making request, at that time you are passing that return address also. So when target system will complete its execution, it will return to that particular address what they received in request. Okay, so that one is return address pattern. So if you want, like you can follow this one, looks good, only they documented it in very small like easy way. Otherwise you can follow this book. Yeah, here we have this book also. So enterprise integration pattern, this throughout this book they have discussed multiple pattern. Request reply, publish subscribe, distributed, this one is publish subscribe only. Content based routing, message filter, dynamic routing. Okay, I will suggest to go with this book. Okay, this book is good for to understand integration in detail, in-depth knowledge you will get. Okay, fine.
Is it available online, like to
Yes,
buy
yes.
it or to?
No, let me send this link, these two link. I will send after this call.
Can you send it in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I will send. So that is the PDF link. And this also you can follow. Okay, my cursor lost. What is problem with this? This notepad has some problem. Okay, fine. So everyone clear with this? Next, explain ActiveMQ. Okay, so this one is, I'm not sorry, this is ActiveMQ or Oracle Oracle Active AQ is there. Active MQ. Let me quickly check which queue they are discussing. This is Oracle Active AQ. Active MQ, which Apache Active MQ. Okay. Okay, this MQ I haven't used. Mostly I worked on JMS and Anypoint MQ, IBM MQ. So this one is provided by Apache and this one is open source. Okay, but all queue has same like use cases. You will get you if you want to make your process async and you want to process your record in first out pattern, then we use like any JMS, any queue. Okay, now we have multiple vendors, so based on your system compatibility you need to, or target system compatibility, you need to see which queue you should use. And like if you want Oracle AQ or IBM MQ or this Anypoint MQ, then all these are licensed one and you need to purchase their license. Have you done any performance tuning in your Mule project? So in Mule project, I think yesterday we discussed like we can do performance tuning in multiple way. We can make our process like we can we can do parallel processing, we can do batch processing, we can do caching. Then what other thing we discussed yesterday? Caching is one of the very much important. Then parallel processing we can do batch processing, we can select streaming option. Okay, we can use async scope. Yes,
Ravi.
yes.
Yeah. I sorry for the distraction while we are on the reading materials. Like, do you have any recommendation? Like, as you recommended us this book, any other MuleSoft which will guide in very much stream way, like instead of like to add up with your courses, to understand and digest it, very well. Like because there are plenty of books on the online. But I don't know which one is good, just some of them, the covers are saying a lot, but inside may not be the same as like the title say puts there. Do you have any good one? And this is
Okay, see,
you don't go wrong with this.
yeah, in systematic way, only you will get MuleSoft documentation. If you will follow MuleSoft website, so you can go to this particular website. Okay, here you will get lots of concept and lots of thing, especially for DataWeave and for RTF and all. You will get very good content here, and in left hand side you can see multiple headings are there. You need to find proper heading and you need to go there and you can get multiple content. So this one will be good resource from where you can learn. Apart of that, if you want systematic, so many like as I mentioned, YouTube video are there. Okay, those are good, but you will not get everything in systematic way. You need to figure out, you need to explore, you need to spend time, and then you will get. A part of that, you can go for MuleSoft training. There you will get everything in systematic way, and those trainings are 5-day, 6-day training or 3-day training. In very short period you will get lots of knowledge, but that training will be expensive. But many people I have seen, they are like means, reselling their voucher and all, then or maybe from your company, if you are working, then you can ask them to provide you training voucher, you will get that one. So there you will get, for example, RTF and all. Nowhere you will get good content, but if you will follow, like if you will go through MuleSoft training, then yes, you can understand, you can have good understanding of RTF deployment model. Okay. Yeah, apart of that, if you will ask who all are good trainer in MuleSoft for in UT, then what I observed, okay, there are good trainer, multiple good trainer are there, but if you follow basic, if you want to follow basic training, then Shravan Lingam and this one, I forgot, Chinna, that one is also good, and even my video are good for beginners. Okay, if you want to get advanced knowledge, then you can follow this one, Siva Tankmani, or you can follow Jiten Bafna. Jiten Mafna, actually they are providing, means he is providing many videos. Most of them are good, but few places you will find like he took very high level in very speed way, so that you may face problem. But Siva Tankmani, he took everything from very beginning. So their video, like whatever video he has provided, that is very good for advanced level. So these all are resource, like you will not get everything in one place, you have to explore multiple places. If you want in one place, then for each component, like architect training, platform architect training, RTF training, MuleSoft provides their training in 3 day, 2 day. You will get very good understanding. What is this? Okay. Let me copy all this, and this only creating problem. Let me close this notepad. This notepad. No. What is creating problem then? Okay, is it clear? Like, so means as I mentioned, like you will not get all the things at the one place. On if you are exploring internet and all, you have to explore all the possible good option, and then from one place you will get different thing. And if you want to get collectively in short time, then MuleSoft training, that self, not self-paced one, that one instructor-led training that you need to go through. Okay, next. How do you done any performance training? We discussed, like we have multiple way: batch processing, parallel processing, caching, asynchronous processing. All those things we can do for like for doing, and then streaming option you need to select for performance tuning. Challenge faced in your project. Okay, this one actually I will say, like it should vary from project to project. Let me explain my scenario, what challenge I faced in my project. Okay, so like recently I was working with one project, and there we were connecting with Azure Blob Storage. Okay, that is a storage location, and for that we used third party connector. Okay, so that third party connector, like we did everything. We tested in local, dev, SIT, UAT. It worked perfect everywhere. when we moved on production, then consumption, like in every environment, we are not doing similar product like consumption what we do in production. We did performance testing and all, but at that time it was not cached. During performance testing it passed. Since that time it okay, once you will come to know exact problem, then you will come to know like how it passed. So performance testing also it passed, and when it moved on production, so after every 6 hour, that connection was that connector was start giving connection timeout. Okay, so there was some bug with that. So in case of like huge number of requests, that connector was not performing good. So in that case, like it was big trouble for us in production. Every time restarting production is not a easy task every 6 hour. So we need to restart one particular server. So for that, like I explored on first, I connected with MuleSoft support team. I reported this, but they clearly declined that this is third party connector, so we can't help anything here. So you need to connect with third party, and they will help you. And if you want any help from third party, they will charge amount. Okay, so you need to pay some amount to make something fix. Okay, so in that case, like we plan to find some better alternative approach. And when I explored, I got like we have one way we can connect with Azure Blob Storage using REST API connector, HTTP requester. But before that, we need to create SaaS token, and also I used Java code to generate SaaS token. So algorithm and everything was given on their website, Azure documentation website. They have given everything, what algorithm you need to follow to generate SaaS token and how to connect with their REST API. And I followed everything, and using that REST API, everything worked perfectly. And then we resolved that production issue, what was like a very critical issue. Like this, you have to identify what problem you have faced in your project. No matter you faced in any other technology, you can convert in MuleSoft and you can use that one. Okay, but yeah, 1-2 scenarios should be ready with you. Now explain batch processing. So for batch processing, whenever we want to do parallel processing, we have like huge number of record, then we do batch processing. So in batch processing, like whenever request will come, we need to define batch size. Based on that batch size, multiple batch will be created, and all batch will be placed in queue. Okay, now based on your vcode, your number of parallel thread will be created, number of thread will be created. That number of thread will be completely depend on your vcode size. Okay, and then it will create that number of threads, and each thread will take one batch from queue, and it will pass that message to one instance of batch step. Okay, so then it will do processing of each batch in each instance of batch step, and there we do sequential processing. Okay, for example, in one batch we have 100 record, so all 100 record will not be processed once at a time. All will be processed one by one. Okay, and then once it will complete the processing, it will put back that payload in or batch inside JMS queue. Sorry, not JMS queue, inside queue. And then same thread will go for next available batch. Okay, in this way it will do required processing. And as I mentioned, like here we will have multi-threaded processing, so performance will be good. Best practice followed in your project. So in project we have to follow multiple best practices. Like whenever you develop YAML, you need to create fragment, traits, data type, reusable components. Whenever you develop any API, you need to follow best practices in your folder structure, in your property file. Like property file should be two kind of property file. One is having static value, another one is having secure data. Okay, all this sensitive data should be secured and should be encrypted. Okay, apart of that, like you should develop your API which should be tuned one, like there should be performance tuning. Then you should do proper logging and error handling. So all these best practices you should follow, and you should design your component in such a way you can reuse as much as possible. Okay, then in batch processing you have 30k record as an input. If 1000 record got failed, need to stop the batch processing. How do you achieve it? Okay, so here we have one property, how many failed record you will ignore. Okay, you need to define that limit, and if it will go beyond that, then your processing will stop. Okay, so there will be one property, how many failed record you will ignore. So you need to define that number of failed record you are going to ignore, you need to define there. Okay, fine. So this is all about this recent CTS question. Now we will go for some scenario based question. Let me take last 6 questions today, and remaining we will take later on. I have a variable before parallel for each and a variable inside parallel for each. How many variable will be after parallel for each? Okay. Okay, so before that you need to understand what will be the behavior of payload and variable before for each, before parallel for each, and after for each, and after parallel for each. Anyone know what will be behavior of payload and variable if you are updating payload and variable inside parallel for each or for each? Anyone know?
I think parallel for each, it won't change that payload, right? Variables, yeah, it will
You did
change.
reverse. Parallel for each will update payload. Okay. So whatever payload will be generated inside parallel for each, that will be your payload after parallel for each. Okay. So payload will change in case of parallel for each, and variable will remain same. Okay. And in case of for each, your payload will remain same. If you are updating payload inside for each, that payload will not be impacted. So after for each also, what payload you have before for each, same payload will be there after for each also, but variable will change. Okay, so here they are saying I have a variable before parallel for each, so variable will not change. How many variable will be after parallel? Okay, this question is a little bit different, but here whatever variable you have inside parallel for each, that is not visible outside of parallel for each, so there will be only one variable. Okay, but payload, if you will say, then payload will change and you will get whatever payload you have inside parallel for each, that you will get. Is it clear? I have two variables from where I want to retrieve data which are not dependent on each other. How and then how do I handle it? I have two table. Okay, sorry. I have two table. from where I want to retrieve data and which are not dependent. So here we will use scatter gather. Okay, and then we will do this DB call parallelly. I am getting multiple similar requests from end user.
1 second, Ravi. Here, why only scatter gather? We can use parallel for each also, right?
Okay, so you tell me what is difference between scatter gather and parallel for each.
Parallel for each, it is send a request parallelly, independent of the other thread. Scatter gather also we can send a.
Then why MuleSoft created two component? Why not one component? If both are doing same task, then why they wasted their effort and why they created two component?
Ravi, I'm not sure, but in the case of scatter gather, like it was the end result was appending, right? Appending the all together. But in the case of parallel for each,
Same parallel for each also will append all result. After parallel for each, whatever payload generated inside parallel for each, all payload will be appended and you will get array of payload. Can anyone tell me any difference between scatter gather and parallel for each? See, MuleSoft is very big company. They will not create unnecessary two component. Definitely there should be some big difference. And this is like not difficult thing. This is very basic thing. If you have used these two component, then this should be very basic question. You should know. Okay, fine. So in case of scatter gather, we have fixed number of branch. You can't generate branch dynamically. Whatever branch you will define at the time of development, you created two branch, then only two parallel branch will be there. Runtime it will not change. But in case of parallel for each, branch will be created at runtime. Okay, so you can define maximum concurrency, but that maximum concurrency will be created at the time of runtime, not at the design time. Is it clear to everyone? If you define scatter gather, you have to define development time only. You need to decide how many parallel branch will be there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and generally in case of scatter gather, sorry, we are doing inside each branch we are doing some different processing. But in case of parallel for each thread, like each parallel process, each parallel branch what is created at runtime will do same task whatever you will define there inside parallel for each. So this two is very like big difference between these two component. That's why we have these two different component. Is it clear to everyone?
Question, Ravi. Both methods, are we using like at the same time or they are independent of each other?
Both method means scatter gather
I mean,
and
like
parallel.
scatter gather and parallel for each. Like,
Yes,
are they
definitely.
like usable for different purpose, or we follow them at the same time, or no?